for the recording to start. There we go. So, we are going to do something kind of similar to what we had been doing, kind of like a stations thing, but we should finish them all today. But we're going to talk about the Greek government and how their government was ran. So I'm going to get my screen presented. The assignment should be posted on Google Classroom now. Alrighty. So over on Google Classroom, we should now have under Social Studies a Greek government Mythbusters.
Do you open both of them?
So you're gonna need to open the Google Slides, and then the PDF you can open it so that you can read it and copy and paste if you'd like to. Okay.
PowerPoint somewhere?
Huh?
You can't use the PowerPoint somewhere? Copy and paste.
I'm pretty sure you can copy and paste from that PDF.
Oh.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get both of those open, please. The Greek Mythbusters Google Slides and the PDF as well. So we're going to talk about the government today, and we'll go from there. As always, the first slide is information on how to type into it, but I'm pretty sure that you guys have gotten it down pretty well now. Zoom in, click on the boxes until you got the right one. Yeah. So I'm going to do 50. 50 seems okay. All right. So we have 1, 2. So there's 6 slides or 6 pages that we'll read. It's going to give us a true or false statement, basically. And if it's a fact, we're going to say, like, yeah, that's true. And if it's wrong, we're going to be like, no, that's wrong, and fix it, right? Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. I think 100 might be too much, though. Oh, too far. Okay, so here's our first one. The directions say, below there are several myths regarding the government in ancient Greece. As you navigate through the room, it's supposed to be stations hung up around the room, and analyze the information at each station, you must determine the validity of each of the statements below. Validity means, is it true or not? If the myth, or is the myth actually fact, or can you bust the myth? And then provide the details from the station to verify and prove your statement. So we're going to read through that first page, and we are going to say if it's true or false. Did ancient Greece only have one form of government? So we either need to say fact, totally true, or we need to say, nope, that's busted, not true, and here's why. So let's go read our first page over here. Zoom in a little bit. So, myth number 1, number A, whatever. Sparta, which is a city in Greece, Sparta was less interesting. Wow, hang on. Sparta was less interested than Athens in following the will of the people. The people were supposed to be working for the good of the state. However, just as Athens experimented with a novel form of government, Sparta's system was also unusual. Originally, monarchs ruled Sparta, but over time, Sparta hybridized its government. So a monarch is when there's a king or a queen, there's just one ruler. So Sparta is going to kind of change that a little bit. It says, the kings remained, but there were 2 of them at a time. So now they could go to war while one stayed home and care for the people in the city-state. So there was 2 kings at a time. One that could go away and do things, and one that would stay there to make sure everybody was okay. There were also 5 annually elected ephors who shared the power with the kings. So it's like people that were elected, and yeah. Okay. Yeah, I probably am. Take your hat off, too. The ephors did not have to kneel down before the kings of Sparta and were held in high esteem by the citizens since they kept a watchful eye on the king. An assembly of people, all of them were men over the age of 30, would approve the laws. So there's our first part of stuff. Did it go over if they only had one form of government? Not really, like kind of, but not really, right?
So is that a false or yes?
I don't know, maybe we need to read our second one to find out.
Wait, I thought we were in order too.
I don't know if they're in order.
How do we make it like, how do we put in something in the box?
Double click on it and type an X. There you go. Yeah, you can type an X in there. But I don't think that that's true, so hold on. So let's keep reading and see if we can find it out. Maybe, I don't know. We're going to find out. What do you guys think? Do you think there's one form of government or multiple? Why do you think there's multiple?
Because, wait, what are we talking about?
Alex? Yes. You got 2 minutes. Go. Charlie, you said you think that it's busted and that there's multiple forms of government. Why?
Because like one form of government is the king and one is the people that were elected.
Okay, good. Elijah, is that what you were going to say? Yeah. So that is correct. This is a busted myth. It is busted. It is not true. Okay. I'm going to do one with you, but this is a graded assignment. So after this, I'm going to have you guys work on do them. I'll read them again, yeah. Okay, so this one is busted because Athens had one king, right? Who changed it? Who decided they were like, nah, we're going to have multiple kings and elect people? Sparta. Sparta had 2 kings and elected people. We'll just say people. Yes, write what I wrote for number 1. So everybody should get at least 2 points out of this. This whole assignment. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a minute to type this out. I'm going to check my attendance really quick.
So what's Sparta and this movie? Didn't know what it's called.
There's a movie called Sparta. And there's also a movie called...
What is that looking at from Sparta?
S-P-A-R-T-A. There's a movie called 300. I'm pretty sure it's rated R.
Yeah.
But it's about Sparta and ancient Greece.
Mm-hmm.
And there's these people fighting, and one of them literally just yells like, "This is Sparta!" Yeah, that's from that movie.
Yeah, 300.
That's what I just said, yes.
Me and my dad watched that.
Okay, take about 1 more minute, and then I'm going to read number 2.
I've seen it a couple times, like 3 times.
I don't watch a lot of action movies.
I love a lot of action movies. I like horror and action.
I don't watch a lot of movies in general. I watch like a couple of TV shows and that's it. What's your channel for?
Sorry. I don't know what I'm saying.
I don't know, but you're gonna be standing soon.
Okay.
Okay. Sure.
Oh, yeah.
But like you have to stay a little bit bent over so people behind you can see. Alrighty. So I'll leave this up, but I am gonna go read number 2 here. So this one, myth number 2. Is the first time the world ever saw the word democracy was with the Athenians. So you're going to tell me if that is a fact or if you can bust that and tell me why it's wrong. So on page number 2, source B says, when we think of tyrants, we often think of oppressive rulers who ignore the rights of the people. In ancient Greece, tyrants could be benevolent or kind-hearted, and were often supported by the people, although usually not the aristocrats. So a tyrant is someone like a dictator, like they do They are in charge. They ignore what everybody in the world needs, and it's all about them. Sometimes they can be good, this kind-hearted part, but they're not often supported. Yeah.
The page that I'm in on my thing is not living.
Interesting. Maybe reload it? Like close it all the way and reload it? Okay. Then it says, however, a tyrant did not gain supreme power by constitutional means, nor was he the hereditary monarch. Tyrants often seized power by winning the support of the people. Therefore, in order to win and keep the support of the people, tyrants were often kind to the populace. Populace means the people that live in the city. Tyrants gave gifts of money and property, and they made promises to ordinary Greeks to keep their supports. Okay. Do these go in order? It doesn't seem like they do.
I think it is. I don't. My eyes are just trying to trick me.
No, I think that's myth number 3. I don't know why they don't go in order, but this is number 3. This one. So go to slide number 3 and look at myth number 3. This one says tyrants could be kind rulers. Don't answer it out loud. But could they be kind? If you think yes, based on what we just read, you say fact. If you think no, you would say yeah, like they could have been kind. Sometimes they were, sometimes they weren't. So they could be kind. So true or false? So fact or busted, and then tell me why you think what you think.
I just said that before.
Okay. And then write in a complete sentence, please. Makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like I said, I don't know why these don't go in order, but yeah, don't write complete sentences. Make sure you write it in a complete sentence. Hmm?
Busted means it's true?
No, busted means that it's false, that you can prove it wrong. Have you guys ever seen Mythbusters?
Nope. I don't even know what that is.
What?
I never even heard of it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I heard of Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters is not the same thing as Mythbusters. I will see if I can find an episode that is like appropriate because I don't remember them very much. I watched them when I was a kid, but I need to like basically it's like things like scientific things. Let's see. I'm gonna Google one and I'll explain what it means. What Mythbusters is. Yeah, go quickly.
That was all for you. It is only 2 minutes. Did you know that number 2 is the very bottom?
So it's just not in order.
Yeah, number 2 is the bottom. Oh, maybe. So, wait, don't go back to the sentence after.
Okay, so I have an example of a Mythbuster, right? So this was a TV show where they would find like scientific things. Like, so the example here says a rock that is kicked up by a lawnmower. So, you know, you're mowing the lawn and you kick a rock at something, right? And it just does that. That it can deliver the same force as being shot by a bullet. So that's like the statement that they're trying to be like, okay, yeah, that's true, or no, that's false. So they build their own contraptions, or they take a lawnmower, and they do that and see if it actually is the force of a bullet. So they'll test how strong the bullet is, and not on people, on like no, on like objects.
I thought they were gonna be like
No, it's not. It's not a real person. So like they make like fake people or they use dummies and they'll shoot they'll like use a bullet and shoot it with a gun, shoot the fake thing, or and then they'll test that force compared to that of the lawnmower shooting a rock at someone to see if it is true. If it's true, they'll be like, yeah, that's cool. If it's false, they'll be like, oh, we busted that myth. Like that's what Mythbusters is.
I don't think it's true. I don't know why.
Why?
My brother got hit in the
Yeah, I don't think it's true either. But that's like an example. I'll see if I can find one, and if you're online, I'll give you the link to it. But I'm gonna make sure it's appropriate before I give it to you guys. So, all right. So that was their second one. Let's look at our third one. So that was source B. Let's look at source number C. Letter C. Yeah. This one looks like it does talk about democracy. So there was a couple on here that talked about democracy. So number 2 talks about democracy, and so does number 4. So we might be able to answer both of them in this. So I'm going to go ahead and read it, and I will show you the 2 that you can answer. It says, the Greek philosopher Plato was the first to compare democracy, which is a system of rule by the people, to the alternative systems of monarchy, oligarchy, and tyranny. However, even though the Greeks were the first people to describe the process, it was the ancient Indians who are believed to have established the first democracies. The Indians created democracies before the 6th century BCE, while Athens is believed to have created the system around the 5th century BCE. Yes, Yoshi. Democracy means that you're chosen by the people. So the people in the city choose you to rule them. Yeah. America is a democracy. While virtually all citizens were allowed to participate in the democracy, citizens did not include women, children, slaves, or aliens, who are those that were not from the city, like immigrants. This means that the majority were excluded from the democratic process. So let's look at this. You can look at number 4. Number 4, you can either say, yep, that's a fact, or you busted the myth.
We're not doing number 2 first?
I don't know about number 2 for sure yet, but number 4, you can answer. To the Athenians, democracy only meant the right to vote. If you flip back to that page, what does democracy mean? Okay. No. I think I highlighted number 2 actually. It is in the first paragraph. It's like right at the very beginning. What does democracy mean? I don't want to know it. Just put it on your paper. Is it copy and paste? Yeah.
Where do you get a pixel? This one is. Well, it's cat.
So you should be able to answer this number 4, myth number 4, in a complete sentences, please. I don't know why I said that so high pitched, but it's fine. It's not going in order. I've said that like 5 times.
Yeah, she said that like 10.
We are on number 4 right now, but you guys can also answer number 2.
Wait, can maybe watch them first?
I don't know if they're appropriate yet. I need to watch them first.
Are they on Disney Plus?
I doubt it. I don't think it's a Disney thing.
Maybe it's on Netflix.
I don't think it's on Netflix. I don't know. I have to look and I'll see. So you should be able to answer number 4 here. And then if you go up to slide number 2, I'm pretty sure you can answer number 2 here. Was the first time democracy was ever used with the Athenians? So in Athens, was that the first place that the word democracy was ever used? Complete sentences. Yep, it is in this one, and it's actually in that first paragraph as well.
Yeah, it even says that
As long as you're doing work. No.
Wait, where's this 2 at?
It's on slide number 2. So you should be able to do myths 1, 2, 3, and 4 all the way through. Okay?
Oh, my bad. I got to my earphones and stuff. They're my earphones. Let's see on. Put it on and. Get earphones from.
John, like Mythbusters, and I did that first.
Hmm?
Can I do like Mythbusters, like the paragraph part first?
Before answering the questions?
Yeah. No.
Did you finish reading all the information though?
Yes, sir.
Finish the information because it might change your idea.
Ow.
Okay, so the internet is saying that Mythbusters is like, it's good. It's no, that it's child appropriate. So I will look for maybe an episode that I think might be interesting, and I can give you guys the link if you're online, or not today. I want to watch it first still. Like, it's not gonna spoil it.
I get pre-made McDonald's. I got that really shit, son.
Are you getting me some? Are you gonna give me some?
Yeah. Yesterday I had Mickey D. I had chicken nuggets with that buffalo sauce.
All right. So at this point, slide number 2, focus. I understand that you need to keep the water bottles to drink water, but they're really starting to annoy me. So please stop with that thing. Yeah, stop. You drink the water and you don't mess with it. Now, at this point, slide number 2, you should be done with, whatever. You should be able to say whether myth number 1 is fact or busted, as well as myth number 2, and explain why you think that. If you are not going to listen to me, is there a point of you being in the room right now? Then you better start listening. So, no, you're fine. Stay there. Slide number 3, you should have been able to answer myth number 3, whether it's fact or busted, and explain your answer, as well as myth number 4, fact or busted, explain your answer. And then we're going to look for 5 and 6. So number 5 says the Spartan government was a very strict oligarchy that gave people no say in their government. So we'll see if we can answer that. And number 6 says the Greek philosopher Aristotle actually thought an oligarchy to be the best form of government. So we're going to look to see if those are fact or fiction. Let's look at source D here. This one is about Aristotle, which we just read. So here we go. The very important Greek philosopher, Aristotle, distinguished between good and bad forms of ruling or government, whether it was a rule by one, which is a monarchy like a king or a queen, a few people, an oligarchy or an aristocracy. So an oligarchy means that there's 4 or 5 people that are in charge. Same with aristocracy. I hate that word. Or many people, a democracy, which is where the people choose who they want to be in charge of them. The types of government relevant to ancient Greece are listed as these 3. Monarchy, oligarchy, generally synonymous with the rule by aristocracy, and democracy. Aristotle divided each into good and bad forms. Democracy, in its extreme form, is mob rule. Tyrants are a type of monarch, except that they have their own self-serving interests. Tyrants, Aristotle claimed, would only look out for themselves and ignore the polis. A polis is a city. To Aristotle, oligarchy was the best. To Aristotle, oligarchy was the best. Why? Because it was ruled by the wealthy. Since the wealthiest had the most to lose, Aristotle believed that they would do everything they could to protect the polis. On the contrary, a mob would not know what to do when given so much power. So the answer to myth number 6 I just said and went. So hopefully you got that one. Okay. So I'm gonna give you a minute to look at for the answer of number 6 in this one.
I thought we were all right.
Well, it's skipping around, remember? What? Okay. Okay. And explain why you think your answer is well, please.
So we're on number 6, huh? Right.
Yeah, you should be able to fill out number 6 right now.
Okay. You remember the assignment after this?
No.
Oh. I can't read double.
No, there's a lot. We're gonna do. We're done after this.
Yeah, we're almost done already, yeah.
And the orphanage people at the week.
Yeah, we'll just be done early for the day for science or social studies.
This was really hard to do.
No, it did look harder than it was, huh? But
What's that mean? I don't know how to pronounce it.
that's a name. Aristotle. That's his name. Okay. Let's see. Are we all good with that one? Finished that one? Okay. So now we're still looking for myth number 5. And myth number 5, awesome, Gabriel. I'm glad you're getting a haircut. I hope it looks good. Myth number 5 might have actually already been said. Okay. So focus back up. So myth number 5 possibly was already said in slide or like the first part that I read, but we're going to finish reading it to see if it gives us more information. But if not, we'll go back up to the first slide, first page, and read that again. So myth number letter E. In ancient times, the area that we call Greece was many independent, self-governing city-states. The technical, much-used term for these city-states is a polis, the plural of polis. We are very familiar with the governments of the 2 leading polis, Athens and Sparta. However, each polis had a very unique government. Most polis began in Greece as monarchies and eventually transitioned into oligarchies, which were ruled by a few members of the elites. And the elite are like the wealthy, high-class people. Some were then transformed into tyrannic forms of government, and even a few evolved into democracies. Athens was famous for its democracy, while Sparta was known for its oligarchy. Hang on. City-states like Argos were known for their tyrannic form of government. However, it eventually adopted a democracy. Corinth had a monarchy government that eventually evolved into a harsh tyranny. Despite different governments, many polis joined together voluntarily for protection against the Persians. Athens served as the head of the Delian League, while the Spartans led the rival Peloponnesian League. So, they did say something about the type of government that Sparta was, correct? But do we know if it was strict or not?
Yeah.
I don't think we know for sure yet. Let's read our next part and then we will see. Okay? So myth number / letter F. I don't know why there's a number sign in front of it. Yeah. I don't know. Democracy means rule by the people. Today, we view that to mean that the people choose their political leaders through voting in elections, just like what happened 2 weeks ago, right? The classical Athenians might not have even recognized voting as a right in their democracy. In fact, the right to vote was very restricted in Athens. The vast majority of people were not even given this right. Additionally, Athenian democracy included the appointment of citizens to office and active participation in the running of the country. In Athens, though voting was a very small part of what it meant to have a democracy, citizens didn't just elect their favorites to represent them. They sat on the court cases in a very large numbers, perhaps as high as 1,500 or as low as 201. The assembly, which held 6,000 citizens, required Athenians to be actively involved in the issues affecting the community. Orators used speeches and meetings to persuade others to become involved in serious matters and to gain support on certain issues. In fact, a citizen in Athens who was not actively involved in their community or government did not serve as an orator and was branded as an idioti, which is the root word for idiot. That's a fun one.
I learned it. What is it?
So, myth number 5, I would say we need to use source E to learn if it's an oligarchy.
Miss John,
Hmm.
did they have a court a long time ago
Mhm.
like that?
John,
Yeah.
can we put Athens stands for democracy while Sparta was known for its oligarchy?
Wait, so they just built it a court?
What was that? I'm trying to understand.
So, for myth number 5, it says the Spartan government was a strict oligarchy that gave people no say in their government. So, it does say right here that Athens was famous for its democracy while Sparta was known for its oligarchy. So, we do know that it was an oligarchy. But then up in number 1 up here,
What would it be though?
well, what do you think? Was it an oligarchy?
What is that?
Oligarchy means that a few people rule the government. So there's like a few people that are in charge.
Why do you don't like the word?
Did they do president in Greek?
I just don't like to say that word. It's hard to say. Aristocracy. Aristocracy. So you need to decide. What was that?
Say
It's a hard word to say. I don't like it. It's yeah. So once you have this all filled out, you decide if myth number 5 is fact or busted, and then tell me why you think that in a complete sentence. That's actually all that we are doing today. So once you are done with that and you've gotten it turned